Hello and welcome, everyone. I will give you a second while people are joining us, and then we will get started. Welcome, everyone. We will get started in just a minute.
I always love watching the number go up from when we
Yeah, I do
start
too.
to it. I don't know why. It's like one of those it's like a social media follower thing where it's like you get happy to know that people are here.
I feel like it's the slots. You try to see where it
Yeah.
rolls to.
Yeah, it's like, will it get to 77? Will it get over 80?
I'm gonna go ahead and get started. I know we have some people that are continuing to trickle in, but I don't want further. So, welcome everyone to our September webinar. I cannot believe that we're doing this. And so I'm Josie, and I am the director of the RAISE Center, which is a project of SPAN funded by the Rehab Service Administration. We support parent centers across the country to support youth with disabilities and their families during transition into adult life. And today I'm really excited to have some of my favorite partners on this webinar and presenting to all of you. And we're going to talk about Youth Engagement Now, or YEN, and some really great projects that have come from their work. And so thank you so much for joining. And I'm going to turn it over to Miriam.
Yeah, good afternoon. My name is Miriam Malisa, and I am part of the RAISE team. And I'm going to walk you through some of the features that Zoom offers during presentations. We have activated the closed caption feature. So to see the closed caption, just click CC on your screen, and they will be displayed over there. We also have a live interpreter right here, and necesitamos para acceder al canal en español, van a ver en la banda o cinta negra un globo que indica Interpretation. Hagan clic allí, luego seleccionan español y oprimen donde dice Mute Original Audio. Esto último filtra completamente la señal en inglés para que puedan escuchar con claridad a nuestro intérprete de hoy, Guillermo Cordero. We also have American Sign Language interpretation. And okay, her name is Dina. We're gonna feature her right here. And so to see her, you need to click on the two dots for the interpretation, and that is gonna show her right there. Please use the Q&A to ask questions for the presenters and the chat box if you have any technical questions or anything for the panelist. And I pass it to Everett and his friends.
Yeah, thank you everybody, and thank you for being here to learn more about our Youth Engagement Now project. And this has been a labor of love for almost I guess a little over a year, maybe even two, I would say. And I'm really, really excited to have you meet our Youth Engagement Now members who help build the website that we're going to showcase for you today. And we're going to start today, though, by letting you know kind of how this got started, what our inspiration was, and where we are now with creating this site and how and where we see things going in the future. There are going to be spots, though, where we are going to ask you to drop some thoughts in the chat or some perspective as we are this I always tell people this site is ever evolving and ever growing as we keep moving, and so we like to get feedback from the people this is for. So as you're looking at this site today, there is going to be some time for you to kind of explore the site and navigate around. We want you to know that a lot of things that you see out there are created by young adults for young adults. This is actually by young adults for adult support staff that are working within youth spaces. And so know that that's the lens that we're taking here. And we're really, really excited, like I said, to showcase this and show you the growth. If you already saw this at the Ray Summit in Missouri, that's fine. We have some new things to show you today. But if you've never seen it, hopefully you'll be really pleased with what you see and can see some use for what's here. But with that said, I'm going to have our Yen members start to introduce themselves. I'm going to go to Julia first. If you can introduce yourself, please.
Hello, my name is Julia Breener. I'm from Vermont. I was a part of Raise a year and a half before Yen started.
So happy you're here, Julia. And we'll go with Katie next, please.
Hi, everyone. My name is Cadence Russell, also known as Katie. I have been a part of the Yeti/Yen project since almost 5 years now, since end of 2020. And I'm super excited to be here.
Yeah, thank you. And we'll go to Billy. Billy, you want to introduce yourself?
Well, greetings, everyone. My name is Billy Pickens, and I am originally from North Carolina, but I'm in New York now. I help my family, but I actually came to Yen from. Uh, I used to be the youth outreach coordinator at the Exceptional Children's Assistance Center from in North Carolina, the Parent Center in North Carolina, and I started attending the conferences, and I was really blown away by how much how together things were and how much they cared about the youth perspective and uh, what what we need to do going forward. And like Everett said, it's a labor of love we're doing. So just grateful to be here. I'll probably be in the background mostly, but I'm definitely here to support my fellow peers.
Well, and Billy, I'm just going to ask you a question because I think one of the things that we talked about is this is a long-standing thing that's been going on for years now. And my question is, what does keep you coming back? I know you said the conferences are amazing and everything, but what keeps drawing you to stay engaged in a nationwide situation like this?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, Billy, I can hear you, bud. Yep.
Okay, cool. I feel like from the first day that we started, communicating, I feel like there is, both, an opportunity to work with adult allies. I'm doing this work for a while, but also making space for, the youth is really big, and I think you all have been really big on, what do you guys feel is best for the future, but also recruiting other youth, younger youth, to sharing that perspective, and I think that's really important, and we continue to have these conversations, and um, that's really what keeps, and also just the friendships and because at the end of the day, as much as we work together and we do work together, I feel like we're also great friends, and really a family in my opinion, and we really been able to help each other navigate the world, both as people, but as also as individuals with disabilities and self advocates. And I feel like it's a very laid back, comfortable experience and environment. And so I think both the balance of fostering, the work that we do in the conversations, but also the well being and the friendship that it creates.
Yes, thanks, Billy. I know I put you on the spot there, Billy, but as the backup today, I thought it might be good just to have you answer that to give people some perspective about what what keeps this group motivating, keeps them working. And last but not least, we'll go to Elizabeth. Hi, Elizabeth.
Hello, I'm Elizabeth Stout from Michigan. I've been part of Yeti since 2021 and have been a youth advocate for youth with disabilities for almost 8 years at this point in quite a variety of ways, and it's something I'm very passionate.
Thank you, Elizabeth. And I'm gonna have you go to the next thing and pose our first question to the audience. And as we do that, Elizabeth, I just want to remind our panelists today to, if you're not going to be speaking for a little bit, please turn your cameras off so that we can highlight mostly the speakers. But go ahead, Elizabeth.
Okay, so our first question related to understanding the barriers to youth engagement is, what fears do you have about youth engagement, or what barriers exist for your organization related?
So if people could put their responses or their thoughts in the chat, please, and we'll take a look and see what people put in. So again, what fears do you have about youth engagement, or what barriers exist for your organization to doing some youth engagement work? Finding a place to hold meetings, it says. Using the language for youth to understand what we do and how we can assist. Finding funding, defining roles, how to connect with youth. One barrier I have seen is a lack of opportunities to jump in, identifying and meeting people. While y'all are just blitzing this is amazing. Using social media for our youth to let those in our state know about them and grow more members. Ensuring we aren't using youth as tokens, that's a big one. Transportation for young people. Thank you all. This is great. How to host in-person meetings that include people from around state simultaneously. Role clarity. Thank you, Michael Scanlon, one of our supportive adult allies on this project, for saying that too. Transportation stipends, language accessibility, different things. Thank you all for sharing that. And we really do hope today to activities that I'm like completely overwhelmed by how amazing this is. Thank you. And I hope that some of the things that we've created and built, some of the products we have for you today on the website that we're going to show you, kind of really addresses some of the things that you all are listening and seeing. And please know that as we started this work, we did go to parent centers from across the country who we knew had some really strong young adult presence and had focus groups with them as we built out what we could do. And so we started this whole yen journey that's it's very organic, and we'll talk about kind of how that got started. But the thing that motivated us to do this, I think, for me, is I get to be the Raise young adult or like youth engagement coordinator, which is really, really great. But I am a person with a disability who went through youth focused programs throughout my life and saw the benefit in doing them. And so it really was a thing for Josie as the director of Raise to really try to involve youth in the work that we do all the time as a center. But Yen is truly a collaboration, and it truly means the world to me to be able to elevate youth voice in this way and use our platform and our I guess, our network of people to connect young adults to create what Billy just called earlier a family. And so it truly it's meant everything to me in my career. So it's almost like a paying it forward. And to be honest, when we were putting this together, the young adults on this call today, your presenters today, basically said, "Everett, can you tell this story? Can you tell people why this mattered so much and why you wanted to do this?" And so they kind of made me do this part, but it truly, when I thought about it, it truly is that I know the value of this, and I think that it's great to be in a position now to help elevate this. But Julia, I know that you prepared some information about what this has meant for you and why this has been so important for you too. So I'm going to ask you, Julia, to share that now, please.
Okay. Hi again, I'm Julia. Supporters, you should feel inclined to use our website because it's created by disabled youth that have covered a wide range of topics for you to use to your advantage. When you have a website created by disabled youth, You will have a better outcome with accomplishing your goals and overcoming your barriers because you have youth that have lived through these experiences as well as navigated the obstacles you might be encountering. You will have a easy time finding the resources and tools to help solve your problems. You will not regret using our website and saying yes to the YEM project. We will even work with you. Our website can help you teach other people to solve their problems. This is why our website should be the only resource to use.
The only, I love that. What a sales pitch. And I want to take some time to thank you, Julia, for sharing that. And I want to introduce Michael Storr, who's from NTEC-C, to kind of talk about the collaboration that we kind of created. I would say it was a happy accident, wouldn't you say, Michael? And something that you and I personally have been working on together for, my goodness, almost 2 decades. So welcome, Michael. I know I kind of put you in the background, but I will give you the floor now.
No problem, Everett. And I guess just to start a little bit of history. So Josie Badger and Everett and I we're all from Pennsylvania, and about 20 years ago, we started the Pennsylvania Youth Leadership Network in the state, and it really was designed to provide the opportunity for youth engagement and leadership. And with NTAC, so this National Technical Assistance Center on Transition, the collaborative, about 4 years ago, discussing how we can better serve states, both education systems and vocational rehab systems, as well as all other stakeholders related to secondary transition. We looked at creating the Youth Engagement Transition Initiative, or YETI, and you overheard some folks talking about that. And the reason it was originally established was to look at how to best engage students, youth, young adults, in getting their perspectives on how better to provide services and resources for students in high school with disabilities that were transitioning. So we really looked at their impact and how that could occur. What Everett was talking about, I guess it was a little over 2 years ago, we were at our annual Capacity Building Institute that NTEC-C has, and Raised had their event for families and youth engagement. And it was at that time that we talked about, wouldn't it be great if we could collaborate between NTAC and the Raise Center in establishing an integrated youth group for leadership and networking. And that led to this foundation of a Youth Engagement Now on the website. We really are excited to see this continue to expand. And I think the really cool thing is, not only are we working with parent training information centers, family centers, but also through NTAC's lens, working with state teams, both at the state level, so it's education folks, vocational rehabilitation staff, as well as other stakeholders, but also getting down to the local level and engaging with students. So it really is exciting as we move forward with this work, and really so glad to be here today. So thanks, Everett.
Yeah, and it truly is like a grassroots effort as much as it can be in that space. I mean, when we brought, it was about 20 young adults to Charlotte, North Carolina, where the CBI was, and we were at the Raise Summit, and we did a youth day afterward with all 20 of these youth, and we were like, we need to keep. They were like, we need to keep doing this, and then it was like, what could that be? And that's when they said, we want practical tools for adults to use to make this happen. Because I think that we as professionals know what youth engagement is, but it's always, how do you go from thinking about it to actually doing it? So we're really excited to kind of showcase what this is and how much it's growing and how the potential that's there for it to continue growing.
Well, and I think
So
another exciting thing too, Everett, just real quickly, is
yeah,
the connections are all across the country. I mean, we really do go from California to Connecticut and everywhere in between with the youth, young adults that are involved in Yen. And it's also connecting with networks within states, other parent groups and that have youth initiatives, as well as other youth engagement groups in states. So it really is exciting. So
yeah,
sorry.
and no, but I guess it also I want to give a shout out because we've been to Region A, Region B, and Region C, and we would not be able to bring in new young adults to this initiative without the support of parent centers who are bringing young adults to these events and helping us create this network that we're creating. It's been an essential part of building this out and creating this has been the support of parent centers. And so I appreciate that. And I know I don't want to maybe speak for Josie and Ray's, but I will in saying that we really appreciate NTAXI's participation and collaboration because we're making it happen. And with that, I want to turn things over to Katie, and I'm actually going to pull up the website right now, and I'm going to ask someone, either Miriam or Josie, to put in the chat the web address. But go ahead, Katie.
Hi guys. So if you have not seen the website, this is Youth Engagement Now, and I wanted to give a quick brief overview of what it is and how to navigate it. So we are currently on the home page. There's also a handout that has been posted in the chat a little bit, but this also is going to go over what I'm talking about. And on your home page is the general, like, this is everything you can find. It gives you all the stuff, the tools, that sort of thing. And it kind of gives you this basic idea of the 3 sections we have come up with for our toolbox. It starts with laying the foundation, which is typically colored in purple and has this more like square logo. And this is where we would find things, and this brief overview is like how to even get started, right? And then we'd have our second one, which is more leadership. If you will scroll down, please, thank you. It's colored in blue and it's more of a triangle shape. And this is how to then, you have youth, you found them, how do you get youth into being advocates and leaders and being involved in the process? And then at the very bottom, color coded in green, scroll down, please, thank you, is equal collaboration of how to get these planning that we've talked about, how to be, problem solving, sustainability. And this is a more square logo. So this is the home. This, you can get to most places through here, but also on the left-hand side is our youth engagement tools. There's a little drop down that has foundations, leadership, and collaboration with those little colored symbols as well. And if you click on any one of those, like let's do leadership, you will see that there is a bunch of stuff that's been linked in here. And this is the tools that we are creating that will be updated as we go through and keep making more stuff. So in this case, we've got a couple of community building, that sort of stuff. And if you go all the way down, you can go to the next section. So it says you're on a roll, keep going, and it will take you to, in this case, collaboration. You see here. Also on the website, we have something called the Yen Talks podcast. This is a podcast that Yen, like myself and several of us have done. There's now 3 of them up, and this are different topics that we are really interested in covering. So our most recent one on fair compensation, we were all super excited about it and that sort of stuff. So that's a thing that is continually being updated. It's being talked about more casually between youth about these different issues that may come up. And then at the very bottom on the left-hand side, kind of the navigation bar, is About Us. And this is where you can see all the different youth that are involved with this project. And there's little information pieces about it. So there I am. For example, I actually am not I'm a science major. So I am doing science and doing this. So I have multiple things that I'm interested in. So that's up here on my bio, where I'm from and that sort of thing. And we also have at the bottom adult ally bios, like Everett and Michael Storr, who are all here, and Lucy Badger. They're all here, and they gives a little bit of information about where they came from as well. So you can get to know us and the faces behind this work. And that's kind of the quick overview of what the Yen project is and how to get around it and navigate it. And now I'm going to ask you guys to take a quick scan beyond just me telling you what that is on the website and how to look through it, but to look through it for yourself. Maybe some of those questions that you posed earlier about like, oh, is there stuff up there? There might be stuff that we have created so far on the website. And then we will go through the different sections and kind of explain a little bit more in detail.
Yeah, and I think, Katie, what we'll ask Katie is we'll give people like 5 minutes, 5 to 7 minutes. Just look around, take a peek around what you see, and just know that we are continually building this. And so if you see things that are like, we're still adding things and it will be ever evolving. And so you see sections that are there that don't have things yet, we're in the process of building them. So just know that this will keep growing. And the one thing I want to say, and this is kudos to, I think, our promotion and to the young adults really hitting the pavement or the airways to promote this, is that I've been getting emails about that fair compensation pod. I think because people are interested in the conversation, which means I think we're getting some traction with that. So why don't you take a few minutes here to just take a peek at the website and then once you're in the chat, if you really like something you see, I ask that you kind of like put what you like in the chat. And then what we'll do is have Elizabeth kind of highlight some of our new things that are coming, and then we'll do a quick section overview of each part of the website so you get a full picture of what's all there and what the point was behind each section. So we'll give people a few more minutes to take a peek. And again, if you see something on there that you're like, yes, I've been looking for this, please let us know. And the website is linked in the chat if you are having trouble finding it. I think Marion put it in the chat for folks, for everybody. We'll give folks a few more minutes. Yep. I see the stuff about Heart's Ladder. Yes, that was the foundation. I see people love the podcast. Somebody said I could see all of this being helpful to my work. Yay. Yeah, our self-advocacy video is up. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Heart's Ladder, again, people really like that. And I know that Heart's Ladder is not inherently like, we didn't, you know, it was really the foundation of what we did. And Katie, I'm going to put you on the spot. Can you talk about what we did in Pittsburgh around Heart's Ladder to kind of get this conversation going as people keep navigating?
Yeah, so Heart's Ladder, if you, I'm sure many of you know, but like when I first came in this, I was like, I don't know what on earth Heart's Ladder is, but it's moving from like youth in non-participationary roles, such as what was mentioned earlier, like tokenism, into actual participatory roles where they are, you know, initiating and directing stuff. So like what we're doing with Yen, and how to, as an adult ally, be that support person, and you know, and really have youth be in as equals rather than as, you know, just being like, oh, we have a youth, they're here in a non-participatory role, because it's going from like, okay, they're here to informed, consulted, and then actually making decisions that have equal weight. And so we really like it. We talk about it all the time because you're kind of going up these rungs. You're starting here at the bottom, but you can make your way up to the top. So yeah.
And we try, and I love seeing so many familiar names that I know are either been, you know, reached out about our work, have maybe supported this, or I know that you work in the youth space and that this is there for you. And thank you for sharing what you have been into. But Elizabeth, I don't know if you do want to talk a little bit more about some of the new products we've made, in particular around compensation and different things like that. You're muted, Elizabeth, still, if you're talking.
Sorry about that. Thought I had unmuted.
Yeah, yeah, you're good. You're good. Go ahead. You can start over.
We are always adding new stuff to the website, and the most recent addition, as Everett mentioned, was podcast about fair compensation for youth. So we were talking about the importance of compensating and also the variety of ways that you compensate. It's not just a one size fits all of this is how you have to perform compensation. And we're going to be continuing to add podcasts and another section that we are going to work on in the future is having a area about activities and resources that are youth focused that staff who are working with youth in the collaboration can use during events or meetings with the youth. So ways to make events when it's being a ally to the youth more and interesting and easier for everyone who is planning this.
Yeah, and actually, Rachel, I see that somebody in the chat said a podcast about event planning could be helpful, and that's exactly what we're trying to meet that. And thank you, Elizabeth, for sharing that. I think the compensation one, when we got together for the initial planning, compensation and social capital were two of the most important topics that were brought up. So we really focused on trying to get those out there. But Elizabeth is right that we started to build out resources for adults to consider youth engagement and what it is. But now it's like we want to give you tools that you can actually use with young adults when you're actually working with them. So you have activities and things that you could do. I mean, one example is that we have a lot of icebreakers that we've done and that could be really, really helpful. And I know people are like, oh, I don't like icebreakers, but I almost feel like icebreakers are essential to building the community that you might be trying to build. That being said, now though, I want to turn things over to view other. I want to make sure that we didn't miss a spot. So yeah, we're gonna do a section overview, and I'm gonna have everybody and the young adults that are presenting these different sections did actually work on them. So when you're seeing this, know that the person there did contribute very much to the work that you see here. So Elizabeth, I did a bad job of doing a segue back to you, but do you want to talk about the foundation section that you and Billy did a lot of work on early on in the process?
Yeah, so as Katie mentioned, this is the basics of youth engagement. When you're in the process of getting started on it, and we divided this into 4 main areas of engagement. First, finding youth. Can't really do anything if you don't have them. And right now for that, we have a page that is some tips on the search for youth. Since we know that can be one of the hard things is just figuring out where to go. But luckily, there's lots of ways that you can get started. So we have resources related to that. There's a section on training 101. And that's related to after you have found the youth, how are you making sure that they are well trained in what they are going to be doing and understanding the responsibilities and roles. And this is a frequently asked question document with some questions that we have heard before and suggestions. One of the other areas is disability awareness and knowledge. And we don't have a resource related to that right at the moment, but there will be some coming in.
Yeah, we're actually discussing the lens of this, right? Like how to best present it to adult support, right? How do you talk about this most effectively? Go ahead, Elizabeth. Sorry.
No worries. And then the other one is the principles of diversity, equality, and intersectionality, and specifically from the perspective of disability, since DEI is an important area within the realm. And this, we have a little course that we made that's the basics of, as we said, breaking barriers and building bridges. So it's about disability education, awareness surrounding disability, and then how to build an environment where youth with disabilities can feel comfortable, kind of like the family that was mentioned earlier, and also be productive. So this is a little area to get you started on DEI for disabilities.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Elizabeth. Thank you. And Katie, I want you to talk about some of the leadership resources we have here and what's here for folks here also.
All right. So once you've moved from like the basics of you found a couple of youth, how do you get youth involved in becoming advocates for themselves, right? And then for other people. And so we kind of started with a general code of conduct rubric, basic like questions you should be asking yourselves when you're trying to build this group of like, how should people, be, organizing themselves in groups and engagement, the goals. Like this is an example rubric of if you needed some idea to like get something together, you can use this template to really start to build off of. You're not starting from absolutely nowhere, right? Going along with that, we also have a video, and that code of conduct video kind of works you through this document as well as asking questions to really think about, okay, these are things that I should be considering when we're building youth and how youth and adult allies should be interacting. Also within this section is very importantly is self-advocacy. So that's what someone already mentioned, I saw in the chat, is self-advocacy for everyone with Billy. Talking about what it is, why it's important, those kinds of things. Like, why do we care about self-advocacy? Along this, like, building leaders kind of like thought, a lot of it is how to talk about social capital and community, and also about storytelling. So we have a PDF about what is social capital, the tools and resources you need, how it can be, exchanged, because when youth get involved with things, we want to talk about like how can they be supported, what different ways that support may show up. For example, I have out of Yeti, I have gotten recommendation letters for scholarships and several other things that I've applied for, even though I'm a science major. And that is part of the social capital I've built, is I've made connections with people who also can then help me in my own professional life, even if it's not within transition related specific things. And then we also had a YouTube video about social capital discussing what that is and how to go about it within youth, or youth specifically, and adult allies. And then my personal favorite is storytelling and brand building, maybe because I made this one specifically. But this is all about why storytelling is important, why we care about stories, and how youth are experts within their own stories and kind of the ways you can go about telling them. And so this is very much youth, more like building skills, and how adult allies can be helpful in building those skills to be more successful overall.
Yeah, thanks, Katie. And I want to highlight some of the things that you said that stuck out to me that are like little nuggets that people might not catch. You heard Katie say the words a small group of youth, right? Doesn't have to be a big group of youth. Now you see on our website that there's a group of about 20 of us, right, that have been hanging out doing this, right? But that's years and years of trying to find people and connect. So having a small group of youth to start is okay. That's one, okay? And then I want to make sure people understand that code of conduct could be a foundation of how you can use that to kind of build out what your group is. And so you don't have to start and be huge right away, right? And the idea of where to start and where to begin, it's okay too if you have that small group of youth and you give them some kind of directive. The other part that Katie mentioned was about social capital and that the importance of that. But I think what I tell people that I work with that are adult allies supporting young adults is that you are almost the gatekeeper to the system knowledge, right? So you can give that knowledge back to young adults to teach them how it works, what you know, what you've learned, and you can learn from each other. But then you can also be very intentional about how you build relationships with young adults to bring opportunities to them, to help them along and create opportunities for them. And who knows, maybe opportunities that lead to like jobs and other things like that down the line. And so last but not least, I'm gonna ask Julie to talk a little bit about the section that she worked on under equal collaboration. So go ahead, Julia.
Hi. The section of the YEM project I contributed to you was the website about youth engagement, as well as other aspects. Being a part of the collaboration of YEM website means the world to me. I'm happy to be a part of a website to help people navigate a place where people can come together and attempt to avoid harmful environments or situations that can occur in our communities. A little bit of youth engagement. A lot of folks already said this, but we have different social media outlines, how you can engage with your youth, how to keep your small groups going, and how to interact with your youth so you don't lose them.
Yeah, and so I want to thank you, Julia. I want to make sure that I'm highlighting a couple things. When Julia says that she worked on youth engagement things, well, the big thing was creating a culture of youth engagement, and that is right here. And what we did was we actually created an online course that's here. And if you go to this part of the site and you click Start Course, you'll see a bunch of modules over here on the left-hand side that people can read and interact with and continue to work through. And it does go through many different parts of what it means to create a culture of youth engagement at your place, right? So how can you keep things going? How can you make sure your organization is committed to doing youth engagement work? And we kind of saw this as a great training for staff to go through and navigate on their own, right? We don't like there's no like governor on this of like you have to get all the answers right to move on. We just made it into a course format. And one of the other things that we built on this page, and I know you, Julia, didn't work on, is talking about the very important issue of liability when working with youth under the age of 18 or working with youth who are over the age of 18 and kind of understanding that process. And so, and the other part is one of the other big ones here too is tips for engaging youth in being a part of boards, right? And how can youth be better board members, and what can adults do to help them be a part of organizations at that level? So the online courses will keep coming as this builds out too, because we realize that that's what people need to be able to interact and do things to get staff and themselves ready for what's next. So thank you, Julia, and thank you for all your time and helping to actually write some of that out and work through some of all that content for how to create a culture of youth engagement that way. And then I want to give some time to ask this. Actually, I'll ask Julia. Do you actually want to ask this question too? The next question. Go ahead. I almost stole your spotlight, Julia. That's my fault.
You're fine. What would you suggest we add to the website to keep it growing? I would say we.
Go ahead, Julia.
I think
What suggestions do you have?
I think our next piece of information will be working on a document that tells companies how they can have a diverse and inclusive workplace.
Sure. And now we want to pose that out to you all. What kind of things would you like to see us add to the website to keep it growing? What things might be missing? I know one of the things that people have said is a search button, so you can just type things into our website. That is one. But are there other things for people out there watching that you feel you would love to see be added? We'd love to hear your perspective. And we'll give folks a chance to maybe type something or think it out. Let's see. Could there be a why you should be involved in this? Maybe links for other youth-centric events. Yeah, so like building out account, social media library. Ideas for post and engage youth. Plain language tools. I love this. Captioning for auditory content. There should be caption files on the video, but I will I'll get the transcript up because we should have that up there. Would you have something on youth engagement specifically for blind or visually impaired youth? A translation tool. Thank you. Okay, to support decision making. Really need that. Self-care. I see is one. Mention that. Oh, somebody said that the liability tools for youth under 18 is very helpful. We get this question from parent centers often. Yes, we're trying to meet centers and organizations where they are. Organization tips. Sexual and relationship health.
So this is Josie. I wanted to highlight, I think that eventually we're going to get to a place that we're developing materials for you all to be able to present to youth. I do think that that is part of our future plan.
Correct.
And part of like this initial piece is the just getting started pieces. What do you need to be able to start having a group, being safe, having adult allies who are trained, so that engagement and leadership pieces. I think that probably in the years to come, we will start developing some materials for youth by youth, but we really want to empower all the professionals by providing them like the how-tos on youth engagement.
And Jesse, just to piggyback on that, I think we are partnering with a number of other state youth leadership groups that may already have some of these materials housed with their work. So we're going to try to network to those things too.
Right. That's a great lead in. I don't remember if you jump into that later, Ev, so I don't want to steal your thunder, but I think talking about that and the mini grants before we wrap up.
Sure. So, so I wanted to, before we get into maybe selfishly promoting all the things, right? Doing selfish plugs, is asking the young adults on here to talk about what it's been like to work collaboratively with adult allies on this project. What has that been like for you? I'll go to Elizabeth first to answer this question. What has it been like for you to work collaboratively with, I guess, what we would call veteran advocates or olds, or I've been called a golden guy. I don't know. I mean, so whatever you want to call us, people that are adult support staff helping this to go. Yeah.
Well, it's been especially exciting and encouraging to be working with adults who have felt in the fashion of being able to understand having made the transition as someone with a disability. But I have greatly appreciated everyone that we have worked with and their ability to be understanding of the fact that we are experts on what we have experienced. And that just because we're younger certainly does not mean that we don't have our own positive ways to help and influence projects. And it's definitely been encouraging and also inspirational as well, that have found ways that you can continue to help youth even after you are out of that period. And great to know that there are adults who are so dedicated to ensuring the youth voice is present.
And Katie.
It's been wonderful. As I've now mentioned a couple times, I am a science person, and it's been a really awesome experience to be able to take things that I really care about and very passionate about, which is, disability representation and advocacy, and especially where my place is, and figure out where that is, and be able to have opportunities to really make an impact on things and to get speaking experience. And, I've spoken at CBI, I'm obviously doing these panels, and that has been really influential for me in making, like feeling more confident what I'm doing. And also it's provided me opportunities into like research and disability research, which is not my realm of sciences. However, it's really networked me in a lot of ways. And I feel like I've made some really amazing friends who I can text me like, hey, I have a question about this thing, right? I remember being so nervous when I first came into this because I didn't know what I was doing or any of the language or any of the stuff. And it's been really awesome to see how we have moved from, end of 2020 to now doing these types of events. I've met so many other people. It definitely feels, less lonely. People with your shared experiences, even if we don't share the same disability. There's people who are older than me who I can look to for wisdom, and also people my own age who I can empathize with and really, feel I have made great friends along this. So all of it's been fantastic. And a great, resource for me as I'm coming into finishing up my bachelor's degree. So yeah.
Yeah, and Julia.
Yes. Hi. It has felt, it's really inspirational being a part of the group with leaders that the group is not only run by youth with disabilities, but it's also amazing having leaders like Everett that don't only take our information that we share with them, but we are actually able to do something with the topics that we discuss to be able to make a change for the better.
Yes, thanks, Julia. And I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint for one last thing because I want to turn it over to Michael Store to do the promo, but ask our last question for the young adults or the young professionals on this webinar today. Is Michael still there, or did he go away? Maybe he went away.
Still here.
Oh, yeah, okay, you are. Okay. Okay.
I did not go away. Is there another slide Ev in there with the?
Nope. That is, this is your question. Then you have this one at the end.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yep.
So, so I think a couple of things. You had heard at the beginning us talking about the Youth Engagement Transition Initiative, or YETI, and then the YEN website, Youth Engagement Now. And as we look at this collaboration between RAISE and NTAC-C, I think really to define that a little clearer is one of the things we're looking at. Along those lines, we're in the process of initiating a community of practice for youth engagement and youth leadership. And we've had one initial session last past week, and our next session is coming up this week on September 19th. And we can drop into chat that link if you're interested in registering. But this is our attempt at getting folks that have an interest from either parent training centers or state teams to connect and engage. And the session we had this past week was great. It was really a cross section of folks from across the country sharing the resources and sharing their questions and really starting to make connections. So we invite you to connect, participate in that. We also have coming up on September 26th at 2 p.m. Eastern, it's kind of a similar webinar regarding youth engagement, youth leadership. We are going to talk about the Youth Engagement Now, or YEN website, but more of that particular webinar is going to address some of the issues of how to actually create or engage in generating a youth leadership, youth engagement group with either within your PTI, your family initiative, or in your state team. So we hope you take advantage of these opportunities as we're moving forward.
Yeah, and Michael, people are asking for the link, so if you want to put that in there. And Josie, I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about the mini grants as we wrap up.
Surely. And I see, Michael, there is a question for you in the chat about a registration link for the meeting on the 19th.
Yep. Correct.
Okay, I will go ahead and pop those in. Thanks.
Go ahead.
Okay. So a couple things to just like be aware of. We are still actively working with Yen to promote and develop new products. That will be going on for hopefully forever, but for the next year and a half, no matter what. And we are, trying to make sure, just as Michael mentioned, that we are collecting youth developed products. So if you all have youth developed products that are either for youth, for professionals, we would be more than thrilled to be able to share those on our site. Of course, give you all credit, or link it to your site, whatever's better for you. If you have products that are developed for youth engagement, but maybe are developed by professionals, we're happy to take a review. We want to make sure that every material that is on the site has been vetted by our youth leaders. And so, if there's a product you feel that is share worthy, we would love to take a minute to review it and hopefully be able to post it. But the big thing that Everett mentioned was that starting probably early November, end of October, Raise is going to be sending out information about a few mini grant opportunities to parent centers. And these mini grants, they're not a ton of money. However, they are both some financial support for people on your team, along with youth leaders, to co-create a product that we can share on our website. And in addition to the financial support, somebody from our Yen group, our youth leaders, will be there to also support your team. And so we're really excited about this opportunity and to get more of you involved.
Well, and I guess one of the goals that we have, I see a question that's like, how will these youth be interacting with youth that are new to the space? Not that we wouldn't come to a state if it works out for schedules or to a place. We can do that, and we're going to start to do that and try to map out a way for people to get connected that way. But the one thing that we want people to do is use this information, come be a part of our community of practice, come be a part of different things, get involved in that, to get connected, to come have your questions answered and connected to, because we really want things to be happening on a local level, right? The best place to start is in your own communities. And so, but thank you, Raise, for having us. Thank you to our Yen members for being here and doing this and promoting our website so well. And Josie, with that, I think we're done. Actually, I think we're done. People are asking for an email of the CEO of the community of practice link. So I don't know, Miriam, if we can add that to what we send out to folks.
Yes, that can go out. So following this wonderful webinar that I'm grateful for all of you presenting on and thankful for folks joining, you will get a follow-up email. And in that email, you'll get a link to the recordings, the slides, and if it's okay with Michael and Miriam, we will add the registration link for the NTAC Community of Practice meeting. But thank you all for joining.
They still need Michael's link. I don't know if he's still here or not, though. I don't know if he dropped off or if he's still there.
Yeah, Everett, if you can track him down later, we will be sending out.
We'll send out the link, okay?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So thanks, everyone. Bye.